Did they ever offer you any kind of a plea bargain? I mean, you ended up with 683 years. Did they ever offer you any kind of a plea bargain?
Yes, sir.
What did they offer you?
I want to see 80 years or 60 years, something like that. And at the time, I 80-year or 60-year sentence at me being 25.
Yeah, 80-year sentence might as well be 683. You know, I understand that.
No, I'm just that. I mean, I felt like if I took a 60-year, 80-year sentence then, I would have been dead before I got out of here.
That's what I'm saying. I hear you. I understand that. You know, if somebody offered send me to jail for 60 years, they might as well send me for 1,000 years.
I'm so tired, bro. I beg for y'all mercy. That's all I can do. Because I'm tired of this place. I've been here 23 years.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
And you heard correctly, 683 years sentence for what you could only probably describe as a crime spree that he went through armed robbery after armed robbery after armed robbery, and then topped up with an attempted murder. The judge literally threw the book at him. But because of new legislation passed in Louisiana, Act 122, he has an opportunity at parole about 670 odd so years early. So here he is. Now, this hearing, it has a string of twists and turns, so be sure to stick to the end. With that, let's jump in.
Mr. Foster, your DOC number is 368081. You're currently 48 years old. You're a second felony offender. Your offenses are in Orleans Parish, attempted manslaughter. You have a 20-year sentence. In Orleans Parish, armed robbery, and you have a 99-year sentence. And that was on August the 3rd, 2001. Same date, armed robbery in Orleans Parish, 99-year sentence. In all three, the armed robbery is running concurrently, and I think the manslaughter is running consecutively. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Then you have another armed robbery in Orleans Parish, 99 years. And this sentencing date was September 21st, 2001. Another armed robbery in Orleans Parish, 99 years. This is running consecutively. Another armed robbery in Orleans Parish, running concurrently. Another armed robbery in Orleans Parish, 99 years, and this is running consecutively. Another armed robbery in Orleans Parish, and this is running concurrently 99 years. And two more armed robberies, both sentenced 99 years, both running consecutively each other and the other consecutives for a total sentence of 693 years. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Your parole date was August 1st, 2021. Your adjusted good time date is April 1st, 2693. Your full term date is June 1st, 2093. Is all that information correct?
No, sir. My adjusted date, my full term date would be 26/6/85.
Your master record is amended on November 17th, 2022, only 2 months ago. The amended master record amended only 2 months ago in November of 22, states that your adjusted good time date is April 1st, 2693. Your full-term date is June 1st, 2693. Now, we're not gonna argue about a couple
That's right,
of years.
that's right.
20, in the year 2600, oh. Oh,
That's right.
okay. Your case has been assigned to Mr. Marabella. Would you please answer Mr. Marabella's question?
Good morning, Mr. Foster. How are you? My name is Tony Marabello. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Foster, how old are you, sir?
48,
And you've been in prison for how long now?
23 years.
23 years. So what, you 25 at the time of the commission of these crimes?
24 going on 25, yes, sir.
44, 25, okay. Tell me a little bit about who you were back then, 24 years old. How far did you go in school back then?
I have a GED. And
When
I
did you
started
get your GED?
From Scenic High School
When did you get it?
in 1992.
Okay, so you had a GED back then, okay? Were you working at all?
Part-time and barbering part-time, stuff like that. Yes, sir.
And did you drink or do drugs?
No, sir. Went into
Did you
that.
ever do drugs?
I have done drugs in the past.
When did you do drugs in the past?
Well, when I was youthful, moved like around 17, 18 years old. I was young.
What kind of drugs did you use when you were 17 and 18?
Marijuana, crack cocaine.
How often were you using marijuana?
Marijuana probably regular.
Regular, every day?
As much as I can get it. As much as I can get it.
Hey, how often were you using crack cocaine?
That wasn't really my thing, but you know, I did it before. I have did it.
When did you stop using drugs altogether? When was the last time you used any kind of drugs? Marijuana, crack cocaine, heroin, anything?
I would say the last time I had drugs would be before I was convicted, right before I was convicted. And since I've been here,
All right, well, let's talk about before you were convicted. How often were you smoking marijuana? Around 2000, I guess it was. When were you arrested for these armed robberies?
in
I'm
2000,
sorry?
2000,
2000, June of 2000? How often were you smoking marijuana before you got arrested?
probably every day. Every
Okay,
chance I had.
Okay, well, a little while ago, I asked you, drugs a problem, and you said no.
I didn't
You
say
don't
drugs
consider
were a
that
problem.
to be a problem when you were smoking marijuana every day?
I was smoking marijuana every day. I didn't ever say it was not a problem. It was a problem. It caused a whole lot of problems for me.
Maybe I misunderstood you. Okay,
Yeah,
that's all right. I appreciate you being
sorry.
clarifying that for me. What about alcohol? Did you drink alcohol?
I'm not into alcohol. I can't
Did
handle
you
it.
ever drink alcohol?
I didn't drunk before, but not like drinking. I occasionally drinking, going, you know, like a family function or something like that. But just drinking alcohol, that wasn't me.
All right. Did you ever have any kind of drug or substance abuse treatment on the outside before you came to prison?
As a child, as a minor, as a juvenile. As
As a juvenile,
yes, sir.
what kind of treatment did you have?
I was in Methodist Psychiatric Hospital for drug abuse
And when was that?
in like late 80s, early 90s. I can't really be specific on a date.
How long were you in the hospital?
That did 90 days.
Okay. When you came out, you went back to using marijuana?
It would have been some years later, when I got out, I did time as a juvenile.
Okay, and when you got out of prison, when you got out of your juvenile time, you went back to using marijuana
Yes, sir.
pretty much daily?
Pretty much daily.
Tell me a little bit about these let's talk first off about 1996. You were arrested originally for armed robbery. You went to trial and you were charged with illegal discharge of a firearm. What were the facts of that case? What was that about?
Me and a guy had an incident, and he told the people that I tried to rob him. I didn't rob him, never robbed him, but it was behind a drug deal going bad.
Okay.
And
You went to trial or did you
trial.
plead guilty?
I went to trial.
Yeah, you went to trial for armed
Yes, sir.
robbery and found you guilty of illegal discharge of a firearm.
Just trying to find him.
Well, let's talk about all these armed robberies in 2000. There was an armed robbery in May 7th, May 17th, May 30th, May 31st, June 2nd. Tell me about all those armed robberies.
I was doing some things I shouldn't have been doing. I did a lot of stuff I shouldn't have did, stuff that I'm not proud of.
Tell me what you did.
I robbed some people and did some things. I committed crimes that I really feel sorry about right now. That I shouldn't have did a long time ago.
Let me ask you this. Were you on drugs at the time?
It wasn't really based on me being on the drug. I'm not even gonna blame it on that.
Well, why did you commit all these armed robberies?
I just was in between living places and not having my own spot or whatever, and I just made some bad choices. Never had, if I didn't have money, I just was doing what I, could do to survive.
Let me ask you this. So you went to trial, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
For how many armed robberies? Was it 14 or something like that, 12?
Something like I can't remember the number.
Okay. And you took the stand and you told the judge, and wasn't you didn't do it. Why'd you do that?
Yeah, I was trying to deny. I was trying to get where I wanted to go home. I wasn't trying. I know what I did was wrong, and I'm sorry I did it. But at the same time, at that time, I was trying to get back out.
Did they ever offer you any kind of a plea bargain? You ended up with 683 years. Did they ever offer you any kind of a plea bargain?
Yes, sir.
What did they offer you?
I want to say 80 years or 60 years, something like that. And at the time, 80-year or 60-year sentence, at me being 25.
Yeah, 80-year sentence might as well be 683. I understand that.
No, I'm just dead. I felt like if I took a 60-year, 80-year sentence then, I would have been dead before I got out of here.
That's what I'm saying. I hear you. I understand that. Somebody offered send me to jail for 60 years, they might as well send me for 1,000 years. I understand what you're saying. But you did get on the stand under oath and you lied to the judge. And that's probably why you ended up with 683 years.
I agree with you.
Okay, all right. So now, are you different than that 23-year-old man or that 24-year-old man that committed all these armed robberies?
1,000% different.
Okay, I'm sorry?
I said 1,000% different.
Okay, tell me how you're different and why.
I knew now that I didn't have no value on what I was doing when I was out there. And not just to my victims, but I made other victims out of my family, and especially my children. I just made a lot of bad decisions coming up, and I know I heard more than just the people that I robbed or the incidents with them incidents. I made victims out of my family, myself, society, period. And it was just a bad choice that I made that led to this. And I know now, if I could have did it all over again, I'd have never did that.
Let me ask you, when I asked you a little while ago about marijuana, when was the last time you did marijuana? You've been very honest with me, and I appreciate your honesty. When was the last time you smoked marijuana while you've been in prison, or had drugs of any kind while you've been in prison?
About maybe about 8 years, 5, 6 years ago.
Now, you've taken a few programs. You took Living in Balance and you took Cage Your Rage, both of those back in 2011. Now, you've done drugs in prison since then, haven't you?
Yes, sir.
Now, you were in Thinking for a Change. Did you ever finish Thinking for a Change?
I broke my leg and my wrist, and I missed the class because of
So
I was in the
So
hospital.
you didn't finish that program.
He's currently in it right now.
I'm currently in
Maribel.
the
In it right now, okay. So tell me how you broke your, how'd you break your arm and your leg, your hand and your leg, your wrist and your leg?
playing football and turned into a fight.
Let's talk, while we're talking about that, let's talk a little bit about your disciplinary record. You've been in jail, been in prison for 23 years. And you've had, how many write-ups have you had?
I'm not sure. I
Okay.
don't know right offhand.
Right.
Not- I have a lot of contraband charges like cigarettes and stuff, and a lot of them, which, you know, those types.
41, you've had 41 total write-ups,
All right.
but you had 10 of those write-ups in the year 2021. And your last write-up was about 14 months ago. Usually when we see people that come in prison, oftentimes they get a lot of write-ups when they first come in, and then they taper off, and then they gradually don't have any more. But here, all of a sudden, you know, you got more recently than you had before. What's going on with it?
What happened was, I won an appeal in July 27th. I think I got it with me. Hold on. Yeah, I won an appeal. There you go, right here. I had won my appeal in July 27th. July 27th, I won an appeal from an incident that occurred on 5/14.
What year?
2021. And I won.
Okay.
I had an appeal granted,
Which one in 2021?
a contraband charge. Rule
Okay.
1.
All right, so you had a write-up on May the 14th of 2021, October. You had 2 write-ups on May 14th.
May 14th, 2 of them.
One of which was contraband. So you won that appeal,
Yes, sir.
okay? In October the 11th of 2021, October 12th of 2021, October 20th of 2021, October 25th of 2021, and November 4th of 2021. You had
That's
write-ups.
All work offenses. All work offenses. I was in the working cell block, and at the time, I was trying to get out of the working cell block already because I had won my appeal, and they never granted. I mean, I was never, the appeal was never acknowledged, even after I won it. So I stayed in the cell blocks with the work offenses. That's where the work offenses came from, because I mean, I wasn't trying to, I was really trying to make a point that I wasn't pulled by me not supposed to be in the working cell block at the time. That's why I kept catching the same write-up, because it was only, I felt like it was only fair that I wasn't even supposed to be in the working cell block from the beginning. I already had to won my appeal and was supposed to be back in population already. Pertaining from the Department of Corrections, from the Secretary of the Department of Corrections had granted appeal.
Mr. Foster, let me ask you, where are you gonna live if you get out?
Right now with my daughter
Where's that gonna be?
in Mandoo, Louisiana.
And what kind of work are you gonna do?
Right now I have I have 2 offers. I have one with a painting and wallpapering company. And I have another one with my cousin. He wanted me to drive a truck for him as with his courier service.
Let me ask you this, what's your plan to stay sober?
Right now, I know with the parole system, I can't afford to be on those drugs and go take a dirty urine and have to come back here.
Well, I mean, you probably knew that before, and you told me you've had a number of write-ups for contraband in prison, smoking marijuana in prison. I mean,
I know.
what is your plan? Your plan is, oh, well, I don't, I might get caught, so I'm not gonna do it. That's never stopped you before.
No, that's not
What is your positive plan to stay sober?
I know I want to make things right with my family. I want to make amends with myself. And lately, I haven't been doing those drugs. So
I hear that.
I don't need it. I really don't need it.
Well, you're asking this board to let you out. You've smoked marijuana pretty much every day of your life. Now, you said, oh, well, that had nothing to do with my armed robberies. I don't believe that. You were smoking every day. You smoked while you were in prison. If you get out, and if you don't have a plan to stay sober, you're going to go right back to it. So my question to you is, how saying Carl Foster's got a good plan? He's going to get out of prison, and he's not going to go back to smoking dope every day and doing crime. But tell me why I should believe that. Not because you think it's true, not because you want to prove to your family you can do it. Sure, you've got all those responsibilities and all those wants. I understand that. Tell me how you're going to stay sober.
There's only one way for me to do it, to stay sober to myself, to be true to myself. I can't, that's the only way I can do it, is to be true to myself and say I'm not going to do something and just don't do it. And
so you think it's a choice. So you think
it's a choice. It's basically a choice.
doing drugs is a choice. You don't think you're a drug addict?
I never considered myself, I've abused drugs, and some people be in denial. I was in denial of that, I guess. But right now, I'm not. It's not on my mind. It's not nothing I want right now.
Said you were in denial?
Sir?
Said you were in denial?
I didn't have denial stages, a lot of them. And right now, it's not. I mean, I just don't have that urge for that. I feel like I need to be, if I'm going to be a better person, I can't be doing the drugs.
I agree with all of that, but I want to know what tools you're going to employ to make sure you don't do that again.
Prayer.
What?
A lot of prayer.
Mr. Foster, I just want to tell you one thing. I'll tell you a little bit about me. 14 years, I was a judge and I ran a drug court. I presided over a drug court. I have heard so many people say exactly what you said. It's a choice. I can go out and I can choose to do it. That's BS. Drug addiction is a disease, and it's not a choice. If it were a choice, it'd be very simple. It's not. You're going to go back out there. You're going to have all the same pressures you had before you were out there. You're going to go right back to doing drugs. You're going to find yourself right back in prison. You need to have a plan, which you don't seem to have. Except prayer, that's a good thing. Prayer is an excellent thing. But prayer isn't going to do it. Prayer alone is not going to do it. You have to have a plan. Have you ever gone to an AA meeting?
Yeah, Bill. On the street.
When?
If I done had AA meetings up here and substance abuse meetings, we have all that. We have all those type of classes.
Well, I understand you have all of those things, but you didn't mention anything to me about that's what you're going to do when you get out. Do you know anything about the 12 steps?
Yes, sir.
What do you know about the 12 steps?
That there's, 12 steps to recovery. There's 12 steps to recovery. Now, I can't quote them one by one. I cannot sit here and quote them one by one, but I know it's a 12-step program in every drug program. And
you know about it, but have you lived it? Is that a blueprint for your life? Have you thought about that?
Really, I need to be living by I feel like I need to live more according to the Bible than anything. I mean, I messed up. I know I messed up, Mr. Morrell. And
All right,
if I only way I
Thank-
can get myself together is if I use that Bible.
thank you. And the one, what can you tell us about Mr. Foster?
Been pretty thorough, Mr. Marabell, on getting the history and questioning him, related to his time here at Angola. He has been in and out of, cell blocks and, he did have these in October to November of 21, had these 5 write-ups related to, aggravated work offense. And, with these write-ups, once you get one and then you get the second, the appeal prior to really doesn't come into play. If you continue to not do what you're supposed to be doing, you're going to continue to get write-ups. So since then, while he has been out in dormitory setting, he is a barber as far as his job here.
Thank you very much, Warden. I appreciate you coming. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Marabella. Ms. White?
I just had one question about your barber. Are you a licensed barber or are you a self-taught barber?
Well, self-taught really.
Good, good.
I've been doing it so that was about 12, 13 years old.
Good. That's a good skill. All right, that's all I wanted to know, Chairman.
One paragraph, I have one question.
Yes, sir.
Was that contraband write-up in May of 2021 ever appealed, and did he win that appeal?
That's the paper right here.
Hand me that paper. It's good.
You do conduct report, it'll tell you.
He won the appeal on, it was granted at the secretary's level. That would have been, granted on July 27th of 21.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
At this time, we'd like to hear from your son, Carl Foster III. Could you open your mic and give us your statement?
Yes, sir.
Would you introduce yourself and give your relationship?
My name is Carl Michael Foster III. I am the son of Carl Michael Foster Jr. And honestly, I would love to see my dad out. I know y'all don't see the best interest in letting him out after doing 23 years for armed robbery and attempted murder, but at the end of the day, he's a family man now. He worries about us. He cares for us. He doesn't want to be in there. He wants to give up that crime life to be a family man, not just to stay in there. I'm not gonna lie to you, it is kind of hard seeing it because I feel like I'm literally sitting at that chair with him and it is hurting. So seeing that he put so much into this one day, I just see that he can do better on the outside. And that's all I really have to say.
Thank you, Carl. Let's hear from Carla Neville. Neville?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Carla Neville and Carl Foster Jr. is my little brother. And I just feel like, I know y'all have him, they charged him and he was found convicted of all these armed robberies and manslaughter. And I just feel like he served his time for those crimes. And what bothers me is the system will allow a person who took someone's life to get out sooner than a person that commits armed robbery. And a life is more valuable than any material merchandise or money. I've been supporting my brother since he was incarcerated, and I'm going to continue to support him. I'm going to give him all the encouragement. I'm a child of Elohim, and I plan on giving him all the knowledge and wisdom that I have. I'm going to hold him like I've been doing, accountable for when he do things that he shouldn't be doing. When he was young, both of our parents were deceased, and my grandmother and my aunt took me to court, and they took my little sister and my other little brother, and they gave me custody of Carl. So I was a young mother, and it was like he was my son, even though we weren't that far apart in age. And I'm just going to be there for him because I feel like my mom and daddy would want me to do that. I've been doing it since he's been incarcerated, before he got incarcerated. And honestly, something happened years ago that he was running the streets. This when he was a young teenager, and it hurt me, but I was looking out for his best interest. And he came to my house and he asked me, could he take a shower and get clean? And I said yes. And I knew they had a warrant out for him. And I called the police and told them he was in my house, and when he came out the bathroom, they were waiting for him. And honestly, I did that because I wanted to save his life. I did not want my little brother in the graveyard with my parents. I did not. And I just feel like he served his time for the crimes that he's been charged with. That's my personal opinion. Like I say, when you put a person's life less valuable than merchandise or money, that's horrible. I kill somebody and I get out in 5 to 10 years, but somebody rob somebody. The person is still living and they got to serve 99 consecutive or concurrent sentences. That's horrible. Life is the most precious thing on earth. Was he wrong? He was definitely wrong. I'm not going to say he was right because he didn't have that to do, and he shouldn't have been robbing nobody. We weren't raised like that.
Ms. Neville, can you wrap it up?
Yes, I can. So I will support my brother if he is released from prison to the best of my ability.
Thank you, Ms. Neville.
You're welcome.
Now we're going to hear from Colin Foster, his brother. Mr. Foster? You muted, Mr. Foster.
Yes, my name is Carlin Foster, the younger brother of Carl Foster. I think my brother struggled just now trying to articulate some of what he was saying. I do believe he has the family support around him to get the help he needs. My brother shared with me some things that I probably shouldn't repeat, but as a child, he experienced some things that he never got help for. My brother has been incarcerated several times, and the word incarceration, there's supposed to be help given to people to rehabilitate. He's never been given that help. Never. Was he wrong for what he did? Yes. And I tell him myself. But he has the support system around him to not go back to that life. I believe he does deserve a second chance, just like any man does. I believe he needs help in maintaining that second chance at life. He didn't take a life. He was trying to survive. He had, at the time, 2 young kids. He had been incarcerated. He was a convicted felon who wasn't given a chance to have a job or a regular life. His daughter was just a baby. His son was only 2. What do you give? What do you expect a man to do with children? He's trying to take care of, and he's never been given the tools or the help he needed to do so. My heart goes out to the victims because I've been a victim as well. So I understand that pain, but they're here living with their family. He deserves another chance. He needs help. If he's not getting that help incarcerated, how can you expect this man to change? He has grandkids that he's having to see behind bars. He has help with not only family, but I have a lot of friends. I have a friend of mine, he's a manager at a food distribution company. He's willing to hire him. He has places to go to live. He needs help.
Can you wrap it up, please?
To the family, I hope you all can find the forgiveness in your heart and see that he's not the person he was at 24 years old. I hope the board can see that as well. And I just ask for the best. And if he is denied, I pray and hope that the board finds a way to get him the help he needs to become a better person and a better man that he already is. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Foster. Now we're going to hear from Ms.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And I am the wife of the victim. He is the one that was shot. Okay, I'm going to start that. I am totally against the offender being released. The offender should not be offered any special conditions. My thoughts are to see him serve all of his time. My family and I were emotionally affected, just walking out of my front door for years. I could see him and hear him telling me when I heard the shots. I tried to open the iron door, but I couldn't open it. I knew my husband was out there because I heard the truck coming. He's coming in from work. From work, 3 jobs, 2 jobs. Get off 1 job, then he go clean up office. Then from that job during the day, he would be cutting breads. He had 3 jobs. And each time I walk out that door, my daughter right there, she's 4 years old, walking out the door, you can still see the blood stains. That was the hardest thing to get up. From my neighbors, he shot him there. I went over there, I'm crying for help. My neighbor came and got me. We pulled him over to the front porch. And I'm telling him, I see what you're doing, and I'm gonna call the police. It's words were okay. My husband, I touched him, he said, I didn't open the door because he could have hit in there on me and my child. We were only 2 there inside. My husband was shot in the arm. He has a permanent scar that reminds us every time we look at that arm. Every time we go to the doctor's office, the first thing they ask, what happened? This is something we'll never forget. They say he didn't murder no one, but he tried to. He shot 3 times. He tried to kill my husband. It didn't happen, but he wanted it to happen. Him, and then they had another friend get out of the car. It was 2 of them. I tried to get the license plate. They had removed no license plate on the car. They had removed the license. Okay. His release being early to me bring back the killing of Father Otis and Mrs. Prax. I know you know that. That happened in December of last year in Huntington Room. Louisiana. Antonio Tyson, he was convicted of of a rape, and he was released early from prison just months. And what happened? Great that the devil himself. What happened? He murdered a retired pastor. He murdered a mother. She was a mother. She was a grandmother. She was a mother-in-law. She had a family. And what happened? If he would have served his whole time, this wouldn't have happened. They need to serve their time. And I'm here to say that Carl Foster must serve his full sentence, 600+ years. You know why? Because armed robbery was his occupation. That was his job. He wasn't on no 9 to 5. He wasn't out there working. He was out there committing robbery. That's what he was doing. So yes, I'm here to speak and say I am totally against him walking the streets. Because I live in New Orleans and it's nothing but crime there. And it's waiting for him to hit the streets. Crack, he don't crack now. And you know, I want to thank you for this. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Mr. Foster, would you like to give us a brief statement before we vote?
I want to say that I appreciate my family being here for me. And I'm listening to Mrs. Davis that said I'm on crack or whatever, which my life has changed. I'm not that person anymore. I'm not that person anymore.
I wouldn't address that. Just tell us why you think we should release you early.
I'm a different person now. I did what I did, and I'm sorry. I can't say I'm sorry enough. I made some terrible mistakes. And if I was given a chance right now, I'm not coming back to this. I've been here 23 years. I'm tired. I want to get out and be a grandfather, and a father to my children. Anything else, it's over with. I'm tired. Ain't nothing else. I'm so tired, bro. I beg for y'all mercy. That's all I can do. Because I'm tired of this place. I've been here 23 years.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Is the panel ready to vote? Mr. Barber.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First off, I'd like to thank all of the people who spoke today, the supporters of Mr. Foster, the family of the victim. We have heard both of you sides today. There are consequences to crimes. While it's true, no one was murdered, someone was shot. Live with that forever, as it's been explained today. Facts of the case, the criminal history, those are things that we take into account when we make decisions. But primarily our responsibility is to determine not so much who Carl Foster was 22 years ago, and not so much what he did, although that's a factor. We are to look and see who Carl Foster is today. This is a 48-year-old man in prison. And I can tell just from the interview, he's come a long way. There's no question he has tremendous family support. He's got a good family behind him. He's got people who love him. He's had a difficult upbringing, apparently, as many people have. And I certainly understand that and I appreciate it. As his brother pointed out, he was never given the tools that he needed, and he needs some help. My concern today for Mr. Foster, in terms of who he is and whether he gets out today or he doesn't, is I don't believe he's got the tools to be able to stay off of drugs. He's used drugs while he's been in prison. I believe, from my experience, that it's likely with the world situation the way it is, the stressors in life, he's likely to go back to using drugs and find himself right back. He's 48 years old. To a 76-year-old man that sits here today, that's young. He's got a lot of life left. I believe the Department of Corrections has some excellent programs. I do not know why Mr. Foster has only taken a couple of programs. He took Living in Balance in 2011, Cage Your Raid 2011, yet he went on to continue to smoke marijuana after that. He is in a good program now, Thinking for Change. That's an excellent program for him, but it's not a substance abuse treatment program. That's something that he needs. We have excellent long-term substance abuse treatment programs in the Department of Corrections. Steve Boyle saying here's a program that I think you could greatly benefit from, Mr. Foster. It'll help you understand your triggers. It'll understand what the things are that gravitate you to go back to using drugs. But more importantly, it'll give you the tools to be able to prevent those things from happening. You've come a long way. I believe you've got a little further to go. You're young. I hope that you can get in the Steve Hall program or some program like that. But for today's purposes, my vote would be to deny, but I would encourage you to take more programs, especially try to get into a long-term substance abuse treatment. That's my vote.
Ms. Wise?
To the Davis family, I appreciate the courage that it took for you all to be here today and participate in the process. I thank you for that. Call to your family. You have a beautiful family. One thing that you said that I totally agree with, and I wanted to become your mantra. You said, I don't need drugs. Keep saying that to yourself. I don't need drugs. You said that. You figured it out because they were there before when you were doing all this. And also you said you didn't have no other way to support. You had a skill of cutting hair. You have a skill. You have a good financial, you have a skill. I concur with my colleague. My vote is to deny as well. You have a victim opposition. Your fair institutional record, those write-ups, that's very concerning. I urge you to reapply when you're eligible for a rehearing, hopefully after you don't have any more write-ups and you've had some substance abuse, whatever's available to you in the area of substance abuse. Sit on the front row and really get it. Best wishes to you, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Wise. Mr. Foster, I want to give you a piece of advice. The next hearing is going to come up when you're eligible. You must stay right up free, and you must enroll in some programs to bolster your chances for release. You have a 693-year sentence. The only thing that's going to get you out is good conduct, community service, organizational participation, and good programs. I see none of that in your jacket as of today. You need to start involving yourself with programs, involving yourself with community service, helping other offenders. I agree with my colleague. I'm going to vote to deny your request. You received 3 votes to deny your request for early release. Denied. You have a good day.
Words of wisdom by Mr. Roche. And guess what? Time, it goes by quickly. We are here for his next parole hearing. It's 2025, 2 years later, and he has another chance. Do you think that he took the advice of Mr. No Way Roche? Do you think that it will result in a parole grant? We're about to find out. But before I do, a few things. Look, we have the appeal, we have the information, but I'm going to wait until the end of this 2025 parole hearing to review that because I'm just excited really to see the results. I haven't seen it yet. I have not watched it as of this time. Sometimes I watch them both and I glue them together, and sometimes I go through the first one and then I see what happens in the second one. And I am genuinely rooting for him. And I got to tell you, this was a very interesting hearing for me. I mean, one thing is that I miss Mr. Marabella. I mean, there's something that the old parole board did that the new parole board just doesn't. And it's like really trying to figure people out. And, this hit all of Mr. Marabella's, talking points, how he's been a judge since the prehistoric age. And, like, and the jokes about the 693-year sentence, how many times they had to rub that in. And it was like the candor of the talking through things. And I actually thought, I was actually I was actually impressed with this man's. I thought he was being authentic. I thought, except for the shooting the man. So that's the thing. I thought he was being authentic. I thought he was being candid. I thought he was being straight up. I didn't think he was beating around the bush. I hear the family members speaking, and I'm like, it's like, yeah, mic drop on, armed robbery and getting longer sentences for that. And he did go on a crazy robbing spree. I'll go over the info, Lady Holly. Sir Richard pulled up on this, but after. But then, you have the victim speak, and the victim brings me back down to earth, and I'm like, whoa. And this is the power of a victim statement. And it was like, I'm not sure his family realized he shot someone. I don't know. They seem shocked and by the news or something, but when you all of a sudden hear it from the victim's perspective, it's like this wasn't just armed robbery and an attempted murder, and it's like you shot him 3 times, you really tried to kill him. And once you bring in the victim's point, it's like, whoa, yeah. But here he is, he's coming up for a second shot. Do you think they're gonna grant? Do you think he did? Do you think he took all the recommendations? Let's go find out.
Man, Carl Foster. I was convicted of armed robbery and attempt manslaughter. And that's what got me here. And what I've been doing since I've been here is I applied myself to take, I took fingerprint change class, 100-hour pre-release class, victim awareness, substance abuse, anger management. I have a degree in welding, and I believe that I've become a different person since I've been here. I come here as a young man, and if I leave, I'm gonna be an old man. And I pretty much, I'm not the same person I was when I first got here. I come here, I applied myself to make myself a better person by taking these classes and these courses. And I even, I wanna say that I just wanna get out and be a better person for myself and for my family and friends. I owe my victims apology for the things I did, and I just appreciate the chance to be here and have a chance to get out of here.
Okay. All right, well, we appreciate those words. We'll take them into consideration. What about the deputy warden? Would you tell us what kind of fellow he's been since he's been locked up?
So since he's been here, he's served about 24 years. He came here in 2002 to LSC. He's a Class B trustee. He's worked as a barber, but currently he's working on line 15A, which is a grass lawn care, like grass cutting crew line. He took his 100 hours, his anger management, substance abuse, thinking for a change, Weldon, victim awareness, and has written his letter for that, and his Tiger score is low. His last DB report was in 2021 for a Rule 28, and over the time, he's had 41 DB reports.
All right, so he's cutting grass now instead of hair.
That come along with the job with the trustee status, so I gotta do what security tell me to do.
Okay, all right, gotcha. I'm just making sure I heard you right. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So, okay, let's talk to the people now that are in favor of your release. I'd like to introduce, I'll let you introduce yourselves, those that are at Louisiana State Penitentiary. There's a gentleman behind you to your left. It's in a light blue shirt. Would you start the introductions and tell us who you are and go down the row, please?
Carlin Foster, his brother.
Okay. Next.
Oliver Foster, his uncle.
Okay.
Carl Michael Foster III, his son.
Carlos Foster, his daughter.
Rodney Davis, his cousin.
Marion Shallow is mother-in-law.
Okay, thank you all for being there, and we will have 3 people that will be speaking, and I'll ask you to keep your comments down to, just a couple of minutes each, because it doesn't take us too long. And we'll begin with Mr. Kerry Myers for the Louisiana Parole Project, then Miss Carla Beadwell and Carlene Foster will go next, the sister and the brother. But Mr. Myers, would you tell us what you have to offer?
Yes, good morning. Kerry Myers with Louisiana Parole Project. We're here to let the board know, should this board grant Mr. Foster parole today. Parole Project will provide transitional support and programming in our program. As the board knows, our program is specifically geared to people who have served longer sentences like Mr. Foster. Approximately 25 years now he's been incarcerated. Obviously, there's a lot of changes in the world. There are a lot of things that Mr. Foster has to understand to function properly in the world. Our staff is absolutely committed to helping him. He will be able to learn the things, particularly things like social norms, social interaction, employment skills, how to interact with coworkers and supervisors, consumer skills, financial skills, technology. We'll connect him to the services that he needs. So we just want to let this board know this Parole Project would support his transition should they grant him parole.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Myers, for those comments and for what your organization does. We appreciate that. Ms. Carla, would you talk to us, please? And I believe we can hear you from where you're seated. Oh, excuse me, you're on Zoom. I'm sorry. Ms. Carla, the sister. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Hi, good morning. I just wanted to say that I believe my brother has served the time for the crimes that he's been found convicted of. I have been there to support him from the beginning. I plan on supporting him come with me. I'm gonna always try to do my best to instill in him the morals that I have, because I believe morals is what he's gonna need to be a great citizen. If my father releases him, which I hope and pray is the case, I believe my brother has learned a lot from the time he has spent incarcerated. I would love to see him come out here to be a part of our family, especially his children and his grandchildren. I will support, I don't know if I say this already, but I will support my brother like I've always done to the best of my ability. I try to keep it honest and true with him. I don't uphold him. I don't want to be upheld when I do something wrong. And I'm really nervous right now. I would love to see my brother free. And my life, since he's been in there, I've been praying for my father's will to be done, because I know that my father, my heavenly father, that's what I'm speaking of, he knows what's best about everything and for everyone. And I try to live a righteous life and do right by others. And with that being said, I'm gonna try to help my brother to live a righteous life, if you all pardon him. Um,
All right, well, we
And I
appreciate,
I'm sorry, one more thing. I do believe that he has been blessed with two skills, which is cutting hair, as well as like he said, he has a welding degree, which I'm very proud of. And he is a great barber. So he does have something that he can come home to sustain him and keep him on the right path, as far as he don't have to go out there and commit any more crimes like he has been convicted of. And again, I will support him to the very best of my ability.
okay. All right, well, thank you. We appreciate that very much. All right, Mr. Foster, I believe it's your turn. Would you tell us about your brother? You can stay seated there, sir.
The last time, the first time he came up, I'm gonna be honest, he wasn't ready. The person he is now, when I looked in that folder, I was proud to say that's my big brother again. He has a lot of family support and a lot of friend support. We are all behind him. Truly believe he's ready to be a part of society again. It's gonna take time because he's been here a long time, but he has a lot of family support. And we're here to make sure that he has everything around him that he needs. If he's paroled, he's gonna be paroled, I believe, to my uncle's address. Vietnam veteran, former deputy sheriff, no nonsense will be tolerated. And accountability is a word that I'm using because he's finally taken the accountability for his action. And in my all honesty, I don't believe he had done that before, but now he has. And I think he's changed to be a better person, not only for his kids and his grandkids, but for himself first. And that's where it starts at. He's not a perfect person, but none of us are. But he's making the steps to change himself to become a better person. And I believe that's all you can ask of anybody, is to make the effort to be a better person. He's had some blemishes here, but he's trying to right his wrongs, and he's trying to change those behaviors and those patterns. And the person that I talk to now, I never heard him talk about God. That's different.
All right. Well, we
24 years, I haven't heard that.
appreciate your comments, and we'll take them very seriously also. Thank you, sir. And the others behind have already introduced themselves behind you, and their supporters, of course. Okay, we'll move into those in opposition. We have. We'll call the DAs. Mr. Ed McGowan with the Orleans DA's office.
Would you like me to go first?
Yes, sir, would. If you would. Yes, sir. Now you can, it's your choice with the DA. You can go after.
I'm probably gonna go first.
Okay.
I was told that I might be going last, but I'm prepared. Again, thank you for the opportunity to be here and make a presentation. My name again is Edward McGowan. I'm the first assistant police parish district attorney's office. And you have in your record before you, I think, some very eloquent statements from the victims and family members who impacted by these crimes. And you're gonna have, I think, a lot of statements as well today. Can you hear me okay? Over there, Commissioner? Great.
Yes.
I want to hit on points that aren't covered by those statements. And I want to start off by pointing out what may be obvious, but I want to make sure it's said that by any historical measure, Mr. Foster's acts are extraordinary. This was an extraordinary crime spree of violence. Whether you're measuring it by Williams Parish Attorney's Office in Williams Parish in 1999 and 2000, around the time this happened, whether you're measuring it against the 2022 crime, 2021, 2022 crime wave in the midst of COVID, the number of armed robberies, this crime spree is truly breathtaking. There were 9 counts of which he was convicted of, and one of those victims was shot in the process. There were 2 others actually that were not, 2 other counts of armed robbery that were not prosecuted because at the time of the trial, those victims were out of state and were not available to come in for trial date, and the DA's office still proceeded. And then eventually, because of the sentence, because of the conviction, those cases were not pursued after that. And what you see back in 2000, 2001 is that the attorney's office handled this case with extraordinary gravity. Not only did they pursue this case and take it to trial, they filed a multiple bill, and that multiple bill proceeding reflected that his prior offense for which he had been convicted was also a firearms offense. And so that is not a, that adds to the gravity. Additionally, the sentencing judge went out of her way, could have found these sentences to be concurrent, but instead sentenced these counts consecutively. And again, an extraordinary crime wave leading to an extraordinary sentence. By my calculation, Mr. Foster still has 6 centuries to serve before his full-time release date. As a reflection, I believe, of both that administration of the DA's office and that particular judge, one of the esteemed, most respected judges still on the bench today, that this individual should not be back on the streets based on how extraordinarily violent and consistent and prolific this crime spree was. When Mr. Williams was made aware of this parole hearing, the current Williams Parish DA's administration sent me to make sure that the board be aware that we are still in opposition to Mr. Foster being released early. And so I want to make that abundantly clear. As the board knows, law enforcement has registered opposition. Every victim who has responded has registered opposition, and the Williams Parish District Attorney's Office also stands with their opposition. In light of those extraordinary circumstances, I think it is fair if we were to consider overriding the message from that trial and sentencing in 2000, 2001. If we're going to override that and let us consider even letting Mr. Foster out early, we should be witnessing some extraordinary act, some extraordinary tale of rehabilitation. And with all respect, what I see is a fairly routine, record in the episode. He has troubles. He's certainly not the worst, but far from what I would consider an extraordinary tale of rehabilitation. 2 other things I want to hit on before I wrap up. I know y'all had a long morning and have some more statements, but
Take your time.
The victims who are registering their opposition, they, I believe, informally are availing themselves of confidentiality for a reason. They want their personal details protected because they are still traumatized by the violence they received at the hands of Mr. Foster. They are still terrified, and 25 years has not taken that terror and trauma away from them. They still feel that today, and I think they've expressed that in their statements to the board. And again, you can see that by the fact that they want to avail themselves of confidentiality that's there. The last thing I wanted to point out to y'all is something, and if I'm misreading this because I do not make these presentations often, please forgive me. But the last time Mr. Foster was before the board, different members that rule was denied. All three members, by my reading, made a very specific unanimous recommendation before Mr. Foster was to be considered for parole, among other things. He should avail himself of long-term substance abuse counseling and programming. Now, I note that he does have certificates from 2011 for substance abuse programming. But since this 2003 hearing, where the board at that time still recommended specifically that he avail himself of that type of programming, he did not do so. And we're standing here 2.5 years later. The only thing he has done is applied to two different programs, one of which he completed, the other of which he did not. The other program, I believe, it might have been mentioned earlier, I can't remember if it was the Thinking for Change or the Victims program. He did not complete that program and received no credit for it. He was excluded for excessive absences. And so when I'm not simply out of thin air with that idea that this was a fairly routine record for DOC. He should be commended for what he's done. But again, there are a lot of things that he could have done to set himself apart, he didn't. And he still hasn't. And in addition to all of the other reasons that are in the record, the other victims and the other victim statement, I asked that the application for parole be denied.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your comment. Take them very seriously, and thank you for your time coming down here and expressing yourself to us. We appreciate that. Now then, I think we need an executive session. I'm going to call for executive session. So I need a motion.
I'll second.
And a second.
A second.
Okay, a motion and a second for executive session. And there is no objections. Therefore, we are now, let me explain to you what we're doing. We're going into executive session right now to hear testimony. And we will be back in just a few minutes. It won't take us long. So you stand by and we'll be back in just a few minutes. All right?
Steve Brown,
Yes.
Carolyn,
Yes.
Stapleton, Mandoo.
Yes. Okay, good luck.
Mr. Foster, I want to give you a piece of advice. The next hearing is going to come up when you're eligible. You must stay right up free, and you must enroll in some programs to bolster your chances for release. You have a 693-year sentence. The only thing that's going to get you out is good conduct, community service, organizational participation, and good programs. I see none of that in your jacket as of today. You need to start involving yourself with programs, involving yourself with community service, helping other friends.
We're going to go back into regular session. We need a motion and a second to go back into regular session.
I'll make the motion.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Yes, I am too. So we're back into regular session. And so,
Brown,
yes.
Stapleton,
Yes.
Mandoo.
Okay, we're back in regular session. And your case has been assigned to Ms. Ledoux. So would you take it from there and begin to ask the question, please?
Mr. Foster, when you were asked what you did to get yourself where you are today, you made the comment that that you were convicted. And in your conversation so far, I haven't heard you say what you did. What did you do?
I committed a crime of armed robbery and attempted manslaughter.
How many armed robberies?
9 counts of armed robbery and 1 count of attempted manslaughter.
Had you done more than the 9 counts that you got convicted for?
I was charged with more counts, yes, ma'am. I was charged with, I think, 14 counts altogether.
The reason I asked that is, I read that you had 18 violent crimes that you had committed or been charged with 18 violent crimes in your district. And that's significant. I want to hear so you said you were sorry. But for some reason, Carlin said something that, that you're changed. When did you stop, getting write-ups in prison? What year was that?
The last write-up was 2021.
And was that when you found out that you were going to have an opportunity for parole?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. My last write-up I called was, the last write-up I had was, Friday, that was, 30W to 24.
Okay.
And that was in 2021. And I had they had me with another write-up at the same time, which was dirty urine, which I won on appeal. And I was supposed to be replaced to the dormitory settings and where I came from. My appeal was never granted. Department of Security, the Secretary of Department of Corrections granted my appeal, and I was never returned to my living quarters. And they called work call one day, and I called a Rule 28, which is a work offense. And
Yeah, I have your disciplinary report in front of me.
all right.
So under Act 122, inmates who have served 20 years and are 45 years or older have an opportunity for parole. You actually have a 693-year sentence and have served 24 years. I don't have any other questions. I'm just illuminating the facts of this case and what I'm hearing. I don't have any other questions.
Ms. Stapleton, any questions?
No.
Okay, and I have no questions, so I think it's time to vote.
Yeah, Mr. Foster, my vote today is to deny parole. I hope that you are starting to turn that curve. I think you need to have more time with your brother. I think he's a great influence on you, but today, based on the length of time served and opposition by law enforcement and the significant violent history, I'm opposed.
Ms. Stapleton?
I concur with Ms. Ledoux, and, I would add strong opposition by all of the victims, to the law enforcement. And you have a significant, sentence of years, so.
Okay, Mr. Foster, I concur with that. Sorry to say, I think you're on the road to a better place now, but you're not there yet. And so as of 10:59 in the morning, your parole request has been denied. Thank you.
And they denied, and I wonder if the old board would have granted. He did put in an effort, right? He took Thinking for a Change, substance abuse. He got a degree in welding, victim awareness, anger management, and that was all in a few-year period. So, and his status leveled up in prison. So it seemed to me that he did put in the effort. Did I miss something on that? I think they mentioned that he didn't listen to the parole board entirely. Maybe he missed out on a certain program. And if he did, I don't know, that wouldn't be good, of course. But like, the parole board, their executive session was 5 minutes. I'm guessing they spoke to one of the victims, and we don't really see that. But for anonymity, we don't really see that, right? Because they usually have a. I guess they made an exception, or they're doing that now as a new option. But I have the information that Lady Holly found, and his crime spree was incredible. And it was horrific. It wasn't just, an armed robbery. It was brutal armed robberies, pointing guns at people's heads. Just the terror that he must have spread, the lives that he altered, not just the man who he attempted to kill. And Mr. Ledoux is right. He shows up and he says, "I was convicted of." That was I heard that too as the first thing I heard, and it's like he thinks he's the victim still, or he's just not. You would think with all these years and the Parole Project help, but we know, like, I don't know how much time the Parole Project invests with, like, if they even prepare them for parole hearings, because, yeah, and the family there too. You would think it's like, what always gets me is where's the prepared speech? Like, he does have a great family behind him. Now, I think that, I think that they view him as a victim as well in some ways, where they feel that he's a victim of the system of getting a nearly 700-year sentence. And hey, I hear that the 700-year sentence is insane. We see people who do the worst, who kill more people, who do the unimaginable to children, right? They don't get the book thrown at them like this, but it's kind of semantics, whether you get 100 years or 700 years. And anyways, Act 122 bipartisanly passed in Louisiana to allow anybody who is above the age of 45 and has served more than 20 years on their sentence. So he's going to be able to continue to come up for parole. Hold on one second. All right, that was the little one. Kids are home from school. It's summer. So, but what was I saying? It's the prepared speech, right? Not having, like, how much work would it take to say what, to emphasize with the victims, to talk about the horror that you caused, the mayhem, just why not have that as a big part of your opening statement versus just to kind of finish off and I'm sorry to the victim, and I think he said victim. Did he even say victims? Even if he did, it's let me, the thing is interesting with this hearing because the victims didn't want they did this in anonymity, and I can't say the word, and the appeal lists all their information. So, but there's so many victims, but for the sake of safety, I'm not going to screen share, but I'll read you inserts of it because it actually lists their street addresses. Why would an appeal list a personal street address as well? But on June 2nd, 2000, Foster was waiting to pick up his children at their mother's home when police officers entered the residence and arrested him for an outstanding warrant. The arrest occurred. Officer Bryant Louis Davis, Louis Department. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, wait. So here it was. Department and 6th Task Force happened to be patrolling the area when and saw Foster, whom he recognized as the suspect. My dog. Okay, sorry about that. I am back again, and as you can see, my head is just all over the place with the dog and the kids and the blah and the this and that. Life is good. But it's can be hard to focus sometimes. So let me go back to this. Okay, so Hearst was robbed and I just said his name, so I'm gonna have to bleep that out. At his residence in New Orleans shortly after 10 p.m. on May 7th, 2000. He had arrived home from work and was getting his belongings out of his vehicle when Foster approached him with the gun in his hand. He struggled with Foster and the gun discharged. Foster then summoned his accomplice who had been driving the car to join the struggle. After the second man joined the struggle, the victim fell to the ground. After the gun discharged, hitting him in the left arm, his wife heard the shots and went to the front door. She did not see her husband, but she saw Foster going through her husband's things. She told Foster that she was going to call the police, and he responded, "I don't care who you call." Foster took $400 in cash, checks, and checks from his tenants for rent and blank checks. The two men then drove away in an older model Cadillac. He was hospitalized and operated on for his injuries on June 12, 2000, after giving police descriptions of the suspect. They were shown a photographic lineup, and they each separately chose the photograph of Foster. Again, I'm reading it because it's like it shares their information. I don't, because they went into the executive session, I just want to respect that. This reminds me, though, just recently, this is recently, I don't think it hasn't even been a year. My father-in-law, my wife's stepfather, was robbed at gunpoint. So he was leaving the casino, and this was like a setup. He was at it was like at 2 in the morning or something. He was alone, and they hit the back of his car when he was at like a stop sign or a light. So he gets out to see the damage, and two guys come out, one to be passenger driver's side, and they point a gun straight at his head. And the way he talks about it, and he's a big guy. He's like 6'3", 6'4", like maybe like he's like 260 pounds or something. You know, he's a little overweight, but he's thick, and he's a big guy. And they said, "Give me your watch." He had a Rolex on. And the other guy went into the car. He didn't know this because now it's in the back of him. But so he just sees one person, and he grabs my father-in-law, grabs the guy's wrist. And then they start moving, like fighting for control of the gun. And he's much bigger than this guy. He said he was like a skinny kid. So he has complete control, plus all the adrenaline. And the guy then shoots. Actually, I'm saying the story wrong. When he pointed the gun at him, he said, "No, I'm not going to give you the Rolex." Then he pointed the gun down, and he shot on the floor, and he said, "Give it to me." And that's when he grabbed the wrist. And when they're fighting for the gun, he shot again. And then the guy who was in the car, he took the keys out of the car and ran behind my father-in-law and put a gun to his head. So now he's two guys, two guns. And he said, some choice words. And at that point, my father-in-law let go of the wrist, and the guys left. And turns out the bullet grazed his leg. He had blood on his leg. Because the firearm was discharged twice, detectives actually took the case seriously. They took him into the department. They have the FBI on it. It's like they think it's there's a lot of stories like this happening in the area. So they actually visited him just a couple months ago about the case. I said, "Oh, your Rolex is down to Russia," but it seems they might not be that clever because they might have found it intact. So, but I told my father, I'm like, "You just got to give up that watch." He's like, "No, they won't." He doesn't understand. He's like, they wouldn't kill me. That would be so stupid over a watch. I'm like, do you know how many times I've seen people murder people for less? Of course they would kill you. And I don't think he still gets it. And I've spoken to him since then, and it's interesting. Everyone deals with trauma differently. He says that he keeps thinking, what if this, what that, but he says he doesn't sleep over, it doesn't bother him, doesn't have nightmares. So for a while, He said he was in sore for a week. He couldn't move because of all the adrenaline and the fighting. But I don't know. He insists that he's over it. But some people, everybody reacts differently. Not everyone gets over, handles things differently, or it could be the trauma will revisit him later. Who knows? But that was just one crime. There's 21 pages on this appeal. There's 21 pages, and they're all about different crimes. So approximately 8:15 a.m. is a two-woman. Here's another one. Stood in the driveway at home in the Garden District. They were planning to purchase from da da da. Foster walked up to the woman and demanded that they give him what they had. So she gave him her purse. Then she raised her hands, indicating that she had nothing to give. Foster saw that she had a camera on her shoulder and he tried to grab it, but her friend, again, I'm not using their names out of respect for the situation, told him that she would give him the camera. And as she tried to take the camera off her shoulder, he asked her, "Do you want me to shoot you in the effing face?" This is just yeah. I mean, this is just I don't feel the same way I did about this case when it started. So she gave him the camera, and he began to walk away. As he walked away, he took a canvas bag that she left sitting on the storm drain, which contained film papers and her checkbook. The same night of the robbery, another person of the New Orleans Police Department went to her home and showed her a photographic lineup, and she chose his photo out of the lineup. She did not testify at trial. Now they go to the next one. Blank, blank, the name. An occupational therapist in the Turo Infirmary was robbed May 31st, 2000, approximately 7:15 a.m. As she exited her vehicle in the parking lot, he approached her and said, "Excuse me, ma'am." He then took out a gun from under his shirt and demanded, "Give me your purse." She asked him not to hurt her, and he responded by saying, "I'm not, give me your purse." She tossed her purse into the empty parking space. He retrieved the purse, ran behind the vehicle. She ran and activated the alarm. Foster ran away after retrieving the purse. On June 5th, she went to Here's another victim. Was robbed June 2nd, 2000, approximately 7:50 p.m. in the parking lot where she worked as an accountant. She noticed a black four-door car pull into a parking spot 3 or 4 spaces away from the vehicle. As she exited, he approached her with the gun in his hand and demanded her purse. She refused to give him her purse, and he said, "Don't make me kill you." So she gave him her purse. Here's another one. This man and his 70-year-old mother were robbed on June 2nd, 2000, between 9 and 9:30 in front of their residence. They had just returned from the grocery store. When he approached carrying a gun, he demanded that she give him an envelope of money that she was holding in her hand. She refused, so he cocked the gun as if he was going to shoot her. Ms. Landry turned over the envelope containing $440, and gave Foster $100, and the other victim gave Foster $130 in cash. It says they went to the police station. They picked him out of a lineup. Then on June 2nd, 2000, approximately 12:45 p.m. And this is just like all day. Nonstop. This is crazy. I mean, this is like, are you really smoking that much Pepsi? Wow. I mean, that seems like I mean, that's a lot of cash. You could get more Pepsi than that, no? To last you at least a day, at least a few hours. Or he was just doing this for fun. At 12:45 p.m. in the yard, Mr. Ehrman had just arrived from the bank after cashing a check. How did he even find these people that were cashing checks? Was he following them from the banks? Like how does he keep running into this money? He demanded the money. The victim gave him his bank envelope containing $430, an additional $10 in his wallet. Sisters were sitting under a nearby tree. The two men asked what was wrong, and he pointed the gun at her and said, "This is what's wrong," and then walked away. They picked him out of the lineup. I'm only on page 8 of 21. So I mean, it goes on and on the same. It just keeps going. So as you can see, this was not as he or the family made it, just armed robbery. No, this is messed up stuff. This is messed up stuff. And you shot someone. It's attempted murder. There's a reason the judge threw the book. You put them through a trial. You had the cost of the trial. I get it. It makes sense. Sometimes you hear these long sentences and you think, how is that possible? That's ridiculous. But then you go into the details and it starts to make sense. So, anyways, well, let's do Lady Holly's fact of the day. So, you're still young. You may not run a machinery on Sundays. And this is New Hampshire. It was deemed illegal to operate machinery on Sundays. That means no lawn mowing, trees, cutting, or ice cream making. Of course, this is a law not practiced today, but it can still be found in New Hampshire law books. It was deemed illegal to operate. I'm cool with that. You should not mow lawns Sunday morning. It's not letting me move it. Okay. Anyways, that's my note. I gotta go. My little squishy needs me. So I love you guys. And with that, I'll let you go.
Mr. Foster, I want to give you a piece of advice. Your next hearing is going to come up when you're eligible. You must stay right up free, and you must enroll in some programs to bolster your chances for release. You have a 693-year sentence. The only thing that's going to get you out is good conduct, community service, organizational participation, and good programs. I see none of that in your jacket. That's up to date. You need to start involving yourself with programs, involving yourself with community service, helping other friends